now, and they've been pretty enjoyable with this new dawn of coming online and speaking directly with all of you, which is super cool. I'm quite enjoying it, and today therefore we've got something a little different. After letting everybody know about like who I am and what album 3 is all going to be about, and then going into my template in Ableton, which has already sped up my workflow on 2 songs. 2? Yeah, maybe 3. Now we're going to have a look at something slightly different, which is the kind of the business side of music. And therefore I wanted to show everybody, show you all, what sites I go to regularly every single day, which therefore allow me to have full oversight of everything I'm doing, as well as being able to upload all my music to various platforms, and receive feedback from other people, and receive new music from other people as well. So with that said, let's get into it. So first of all, we're going to go into Sound On. So let me make this a bit bigger for everybody. Okay, so Sound On is basically how I distribute all my music. So you'll see here, this has got all my releases here. So this is, for all intents and purposes, this is a distributor. Okay, so a distributor is, for those who don't know, is the person or the company that essentially gets your music out to all the various sites, streaming platforms, stores out there. So a record label would do this for you, of course. When I started off, I'm not assigned to a record label, and therefore I looked at various options of joining a record label, and various people had various opinions on that, about whether it was a good thing. The biggest factor which made me kind of go against it was record labels are not your promoter. They own your music, and they can definitely help with getting your name out there, but they also take a huge amount of money for that privilege, right? And I'm talking a huge amount, like more than 50%, sometimes 80%, sometimes a little bit more than that, right? So as somebody new to this industry, and also, having a bit of a spirit of learning everything anyway, learning how to use a digital workstation, learning how the music industry works and everything, I was like a bit cocky, and I was like, no, I'm going to do this myself as an independent artist. And I would say, actually, that's the right thing to do anyway. When you're starting out, no one's going to potentially look at you until you've had something out there which is actually quite good. Sending somebody a private link to a song, is not going to work as much as putting a song out yourself and having it do pretty good, and be able to point people to there and say, hey, I've already got something out there that's pretty good, and I'm working on a new one, maybe you would like that. Here's a private link to that new one, which sounds good, and maybe people will take a chance on you then. So I think it is the right thing to do if you're starting out. Go independent and see where it goes from there. So I went with Sound On because they are the distributor. They're TikTok, basically, as you can kind of infer from the logo, which is hidden behind my beautiful face. So the biggest advantage of going with Sound On is that, and you won't be able to see this on the web version, so I'll have to show it on the mobile version. The biggest advantage is that you get the artist label underneath your profile on TikTok, and that then gives you access to another tab, which is this left hand tab here, which is all of your music. Yeah, so all of this music can be used by other people on the platform, and that generates you money, right? So every time somebody uses your music on one of their videos, you get paid. And I can show that right now by, if I go, one of my songs called Cobra is doing insanely well right now. Let's have a look at the last month, and you'll see a huge spike. There it is. So, you know, every day I'm getting, you know, at least 1,000 to 2,000 views on TikTok from previous music that has been put out. And then on this particular day, I had 25,000. And then the next day, I had 25,000. And then it tailed off, you know, down to 10, and then back to kind of like normal viewership figures. So for the last month, when my album came out, that song, Cobra, did incredibly well, because there is a roller coaster in Germany called Cobra, which opened, and people did videos about the roller coaster experience, and they used my song as the background music for it. So it's as simple as that, right? Not simple. That's what going viral means, right? When I had nothing to do with it, you know, whatsoever. But it shows that just by having it out there, your music is put into the hands of the people, and they can use it however they want, and it can generate you revenue. Absolutely. So yeah, I can't, you know, shout SoundOn's praises, you know, any more than I currently am, right? You know, they're excellent, I've found. So yeah, as well as it shows you, like, you know, how many streams you have on some platforms. Like I distribute to 43, I think it is, and this only shows you like mostly Spotify. The other platforms that it says here, like Apple and Amazon, like you get better figures from the actual sites themselves. So I'll go into that next. Okay, so all my music is distributed via SoundOn, and you get these really good, you know, stats about how well they're doing, etc., which is really, really cool. The one thing it doesn't distribute to, though, is Beatport. Okay, so if I go over to Beatport now, Beatport requires you to have a record label. Ironic, right? Which, when I've just said you need to be independent. The way around this is to start your own record label, right? Easier said than done, right? But it kind of is easy, you know. With Ditto, so if I go over to Ditto is like SoundOn, has all the same kind of stuff, you know, music, video, royalties, analytics, promotion, just like, you know, releases, promotion, analytics here on SoundOn. But the one thing they do is that, yes, when you create a new music release here, you can release it to Beatport, and it will make a record label for you. So you are technically still independent, but you have a record label kind of backing behind you, which is obviously you still, and it allows you to get your music then onto Beatport, and that's been fantastic. You know, all you do is you untick all the other stores, so all the other streaming platforms, or DSPs as they're known. So yeah, that is one way around it. And as you can see here, basically I retroactively then went back and put all of my music that's over here on SoundOn, you know, all of these pieces of music, which you can see were released in, you know, one every single month. You know, in Ditto, I actually released them all in 2025 by putting them over on Beatport. So if you have a look over on Beatport, it then shows you, you know, all your releases there, along with the ones that are doing the best, the most popular. So I've got 2 out of the 6, yeah, here, which have done quite well. And also they have this little label called Hype, which is Beatport Hype, which is a paid subscription that you pay for, but it allows your music to then appear in a separate section within Beatport on release day, which is not the new charts, although your music will go in there, and I've had decline go in there, the track decline, but they have a hype pick section here. So for smaller artists who really are trying to kind of, get through the noise of all the music that is released, having a whole section there for those smaller artists does allow you to get some sort of visibility there on a day when there might be hundreds of music coming out that day. In fact, I can show you how bad it is, because latest releases, where's the button? Do I click on that? No, hang on, let me find this. Right, that's the page that we're on right now. Right, releases. Did I get that right? Right, here we go. Sorry. Yes, right. Let's change it to 150 per page. So today is the 12th of March, and you can see here by the release date here, there are how many tracks released today? Right, so there are, let's call that 10, 20. So 20 tracks have been released today on a Wednesday. I don't know why, but music seems to be released on Friday. You've probably heard of New Music Fridays. I don't know why that is. I've released on Fridays, and on a Friday that number can be up to 200 in drum and bass anyway. It might not be as many in-house, it might be even more. So I am going to start releasing music not on Fridays, right? So I have more chance of getting onto the front page, getting onto this page here, either as a featured track or as just one of these items here. As one of the other items here, getting more chance of visibility therefore. So that's something I've learned as I've gone along. So yeah, I won't be releasing music on a Friday, but I'm still going to release it via Ditto here because it's the only way to do it. Okay, let's move on to, let's skip over that. Let's go to Spotify for Artists. Okay, Spotify for Artists basically shows how well you're doing, this particular day or week. I think it's set to it currently. It shows you the songs that you've released there. It shows the demographics of the people who listen to your music. So most of the people who listen to my music are men, 14% women. They're all over the place, from UK mostly. That's obviously my home country. Germany, big in Germany, so big up the Germans for listening to my music. Maybe I'm like the next David Hasselhoff. Release engagement, etc., etc. And also your video and visuals as well. So I do music videos for every single one of my tracks. They are AI generated, so that when you are again watching on your mobile phone, there'll be video in the background actually playing. Why do I do that? Because Spotify pushes any music that supports the canvas feature. So if you have a canvas, when you pitch your music to a streaming platform, it will check if you have a canvas and be more likely to push you to the top if you do, as opposed to not. Obviously it's a feature they want to showcase within Spotify, because some other platforms don't have that feature. Therefore they want to promote people who are using the features of their platform, and celebrate those people. So I would encourage everyone to make music videos. In fact, let's write these down as a little Andy's tips. So really make your own record label so you can release on Ditto. Don't release on Fridays. Make your own music videos. So that's 3 little tips right there. Apple Music for Artists is the next one. It's quite limited what you can actually do here. It's got the same kind of thing up here as it does in the other distribution platforms, but Apple is so kind of regimented with your account and what you can kind of do with it that there's very little that you can do here. I don't think I can even edit my... Oh no, I can actually. I can edit my profile. I can't really do much else. The information that it gets here is essentially pulled from whatever you've distributed, via sound on here. So the information that you put in here for the various tracks, so you know, the title language and the lyrics and all that kind of like stuff, that goes straight through to the information within here as well. So you don't have much control over your Apple profile. You have some promotional tools, but they're a bit rubbish. Like, you can make a thing that you can share, but it's a bit rubbish basically. So yeah. But what's even more rubbish is Amazon. In fact, it's not even working, unfortunately. Yeah, it's like there's no information. Like, it's not this barely works. I don't know why. Like, new releases. You have no new releases. Yes, I do. My album came out last month. So yeah, very little information. The only reason that you would do Amazon Music is because it's free and you do it via Sound On anyway. So you just press that button and it automatically goes to your Amazon Music. And the other reason is because lots of people have Alexas right now. So you can say, Alexa, play music by Andy Tudor, you know, and you know, she will play, you know, your music, which is quite cool. Means you can, you know, your friends and family who are maybe less tech savvy, don't have Spotify, don't have other systems, can listen to your music in a very, you know, vocal, easy way. So yeah, Amazon, their site is a bit rubbish, basically. So yeah, that's kind of like shows the best, the medium, and the worst of the platforms. There are many others. As I said, you know, I distribute to 43 different platforms, so I have a separate folder with all the links to all the others. So Deezer and Bandcamp and NetEase over in China and iHeartRadio and Peloton, and yeah, there's so many, right? I can't go through them all in this video. So therefore, I have a Google Sheet which streamlines the entire thing, right? So this pulls in all the data, you know, from all the different tabs that there are here. And that pulls in the data and therefore keeps me in track with hang on, let's zoom that in a different way. Yeah, lose this, there we go. So that allows me to see what how much money has been made, what my most successful songs are. So you can see Cobra has done incredibly well. You can't even see that on the stream there. Cobra has done incredibly well because of that TikTok video this particular month. So that is my most popular song currently. What else have we got? Revenue that's brought in over time, including the vinyl sales. A little tracker I keep hold of how much money was made versus what my outgoings are for making that album. So that includes things like, you know, how much did I spend on plugins? How much did I spend on, you know, promoting each single? How much did I spend on AI generations for the music videos, etc., etc., and therefore how much money, you know, has been made over time, and essentially how many months of my mortgage does that pay for, right? So you think about your outgoings that you have every month. How much has how much has the album paid for so far? How many months of mortgage payments does that give me? Which is a kind of, it's a bit I don't know, it's a bit technical and a bit pessimistic maybe to think about that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's the kind of professional way to think about things. So, you know, how much in the red are you when you start an album versus when you start getting that money back versus how much money you make by the end of it, and then obviously when the album launches, then kind of how stratospheric that goes. Okay, so let's go through the one I missed out. So Linktree. So Linktree is, there's an argument that, you know, you don't need a website anymore. When you have, you know, when people ask you about your music, where it is, you know, one of the first things you show people is like your Spotify account or your Instagram or something like that. Having a website in 2025 probably has some advantages, but way more advantageous is just sending somebody your Linktree and then that having links out to everything that you want. So I've found that Linktree is fantastic. There is another one, I can't remember what the name was, but I moved from them because Linktree is just, the interface is just brilliant. Like, it's really easy to like add sections and categorize things together. So you can see, you know, like a live version of it over on the right hand side, and, you know, and I've got links to where you can stream the album, and then that goes off to let's click it, see if it works. It does, right? So that goes off to where you can actually stream the music. It's got a link to where you can actually go and purchase it on vinyl as well. A link to my YouTube and the latest video on my YouTube, although that's not latest video from a specific playlist that I've said. Links to all the singles that I've had out this year, and then link directly to my Instagram as well, and then some more stuff about my previous album Titan, my radio show on data transmission, and some other rubbish, right? So it's super good, like, as well as having all your social icons up here at the top, so you can just directly jump to your SoundCloud and Apple and your X and all that kind of TikTok and stuff like that. So, you know, Linktree is brilliant. I highly recommend going with it. It's fantastic. Right, let's move on to... Okay, right, BBC introducing. Okay, this has been... this holds a special kind of like place in my heart. So I will have a cup of coffee first, and then we'll get into it. So my granddad was a kind of famous organist in the past, and he worked with BBC quite a lot to put albums out, you know. So he opened the Gaumont Theatre in Manchester, and he was kind of like a resident DJ there, you know. He was a resident, and when people came in, he'd be playing music, he'd be playing it in the theatre, you know, productions and stuff like that. He'd be putting concerts on, etc., there. And yeah, the BBC put, you know, his albums out. When I was younger, I played trumpet as well, and I was invited to join the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra, which I had to turn down, unfortunately, because I went to university. And BBC Introducing is a program run by the BBC in the UK, and what you can do basically is you put your profile detail in and everything, all that kind of like stuff, and then you can upload tracks, two tracks every 30 days to the BBC, and they can listen to your music and potentially then get it on air. So they run in fact, I mentioned all about my granddad here, you know, which is interesting. So you can see here that somebody, I uploaded it, somebody listened, somebody else listened as well. So it's looking good that potentially this track gets Radio 1 airplay. Why would you do this? Well, BBC Introducing, not only is it this portal, but they also have in-person events where aspiring young artists can meet up. They can get their music heard live by the Radio 1 DJs, and get feedback on there as well. And I found it's a brilliant place to actually network as well. So I'm working with a fellow BBC Introducing artist, you know, right now, doing a remix for her track. And I've met a few other people that I'm definitely going to be collabing with, as well as getting FaceTime with the Radio 1 DJs and getting their contact details and emails and Instagram DMs, things like that, so that you can make a name for yourself, right? You know, I'm nobody, right? And anybody that's trying to make it in the music industry, like, you know, you need any kind of help you can to get your music heard by other people and kind of like make people aware that you exist, right? So yeah, it's been fantastic. So yeah, like BBC Introducing has been like, I thanked them personally in my album for the, you know, the chance I got to do a mix at BBC Introducing, for being able to meet Jaguar and Jess Isat and Casey and Angel and all those people, and they've been really supportive of me, so I'm very, as I said, they have a special place in my heart, BBC Introducing. So I encourage anybody else, especially if they're in the UK, to start submitting your music to BBC Introducing. That'll be my fourth tip there. Okay, SoundCloud. My SoundCloud is rubbish because I didn't think anybody used it. And then I was very, very wrong. So SoundCloud, from the people that go to my gigs and other people's gigs, festivals and stuff like that, if I ever ask people where they listen to music, they all say SoundCloud. We've gone through Spotify, we've gone through Apple, we've gone through Amazon. Their numbers 2, 3, 4, or 5, 6, 7, 8, in the list there. SoundCloud is number 1. And therefore I have no followers. I have very little activity on my SoundCloud. I was late to the party here. So if that could be tip number 5 or 6, whatever it is do not let your SoundCloud, get your SoundCloud going. Do not let it kind of go to waste. Take some activity on there, because a lot of people use it. It is very easy to have private links on there as well, so you can send that to people privately when you haven't got a track actually out there currently, but you at least want to let them hear it. One case being, for example, this track which I worked on, which is set to private. And it is an entry into a competition. I don't want it out there for other people to listen to, and the client has asked for it not to be out there publicly as well, so I can make it private so that they can listen to it via a shared link, whilst ensuring that the actual track, doesn't go public and gets out there when it's unofficial. It's a unofficial remix currently. Let's cross fingers it does become an official remix, of course. But right now, I don't want anybody else to listen to it. So yeah, SoundCloud is fantastic, I would say. Next one, fellow students in the Pete Tong DJ Academy. You should know this page off by heart. This is the Pete Tong DJ Academy, which I have to say is one of the best music communities I've ever been part of. There are others run by other people, but this is fantastic. I probably won't show much more of this because it's probably meant to be a private thing, but if you want to go and investigate the Pete Tong DJ Academy, it's got great courses, it's got regular events that are on all the time. We're talking currently about International Music Summit, which is next month, so everyone's chatting in there and looking forward to it. It's brilliant. The people that I've met here and chatted to, and the tutors and everything are phenomenal. So I would encourage you, if you are on your kind of journey as a DJ as opposed to a music producer or a vocalist or whatever, although that is covered in the community as well there, in the course, I would say think about joining. It's absolutely fantastic. Right, sound campaign. So when you are releasing your music, this is a music business. That is the point of me doing this stream today. It is not a competition, it is not a hobby. Music is a business, and therefore you have to treat it like a business. There is no way for you, currently to just put your music out there and hope that someone sees it without putting the work in to advertise it. So it's great that you and your mates may listen to it, and you might get, comments and likes by those people on your Insta or whatever. But, you are in the business of selling yourself and making others aware that your music exists. And therefore, I found there are a number. The best way of doing that I found is to get a company like Sound Campaign or Boost Collective, which is another one, and use them to get your music placed on other people's playlists. So when you release music, you pitch to these streaming platforms. Usually you should do this 4 to 6 weeks in advance of when your music comes out. And when you do that, certainly on Spotify, so over on Spotify, your music will go into a bunch of playlists here, including, so you can see the playlists that I've been added to, including like Daily Radar. I think it's got Release Radar, that's what it's called. Release Radar and some others. Which is great, which means that anybody listening to anybody turning Spotify on will see your music on the day of release in Release Radar, which is great. Gives you a bit of visibility on your music and when it comes out. But if you're specialist, so for drum and bass, which is a subgenre of dance music, those people are listening to curated playlists by other people, and therefore getting your music on those people's playlists, so that when you turn up on a Friday or whenever your music releases and you hit play on that playlist, your music is suddenly there, and now people are listening to your music who didn't even know it existed before. They're not going to search you out because they don't even know you exist, right? So I've found that, making a campaign here, so let's make one here. So let's choose a Spotify campaign. Let's choose an old track of mine, Alive. There we go. Alive, there we go. Let's make a campaign here. And basically we're just going to give a quick description of what the actual track is. So it is drum and bass. Come on. My computer sometimes goes really slowly for some reason. Right, DnB. Right, therefore it is Dance Floor Minimal UK drum and bass. There we go. And if DnB didn't catch it, then it is also drum and bass there. So we've now got 4 genres that apply to it. It says up to 5. We then add the vocal language, which is English, and we match it with other languages as well. Add the language in there, and then you basically say how much you are willing to spend, and it will tell you how many playlists it will put that onto. So Sound Campaign have, based off the genre that I chose here, or the genres that the tags that I put here, it will then go and find how many curators have those tags, all of them, and therefore tell me how many it can actually reach. And I'm going to be paying £128 to actually reach those curators. So if I'm not feeling that flush, I can bring that down, and then it's going to reach 6, probably 7. Okay, so I'm going to reach 7 curators. You then press continue if you want that, and therefore it'll put through a payment, and then you will get it in your list here, and then it will tell me, let's have a look at this one here. Let's have a look at this one, how it did. I'm sure it did fine. Okay. Oh no, go away. Right. So here it will tell you the feedback. So some people said no to it. Some people said yes. Really like the production and vibe. I think it's great energy, tight rhythm. Well done. So that got placed onto a playlist. This one got placed onto a playlist. This didn't. This one did. This one didn't. This one didn't. So what's my success rate there? 60%? No. Less than that. 40%. So I had a budget of £90, $107. I spent £80 of that, $94, and I got some money back therefore from the actual campaign. So yeah, it's well worth it. Why do it? Well, because those playlists actually gave me quite a lot of streams. So this one gave me 3,000 streams, which was good. This was a very long time ago. This was going to be 3,000 streams, and I don't think this isn't all of them. Oh, it's the last 28 days. That's why. Yeah, so it's worth it. You know, streams equals money, and streams equals more followers, and streams equals, you know, more monthly listeners on your Spotify. So, you know, Spotify is just one of the 43, but I would say currently Spotify is the leading. It's the one on everyone's, you know, tongues, isn't it? You know, because if somebody says, "Do you listen to music?" and you always send them to your Spotify. You know, I think SoundCloud is personally the one that everyone listens to, but it is not the most prolific. I would say not the one on the tip of everybody's tongues. With the music industry, at least, you know, when you actually speak to people on the boots on the ground, you know, they're all talking about SoundCloud. So yeah, you know, campaigns you have to do them, right? It's the only way to really get yourself noticed in the short term, until obviously you do get noticed, and then people will be going directly to your music, to your profile, and people will know about you, and they'll be following you on Twitter, and you're a success, and off we go to the races, right? Last one is In-Flight. In-Flight is where I send DJs my music. So there are a number of ways of doing this. There's Labelworks. There's another one as well. I've written it down on my other monitor. What is it? Not Proton. Labelworks is the other big one. This is so that you can get your music into the hands of DJs before it comes out, right? So the reason for doing this is makes them feel special with tracks that aren't released yet. Certainly, you know, if you've got music coming out, you should be playing your music first before other people. And then, you know, in the comments when you do a mix, people are asking like, what's the idea of this track, you know, like, and they're really looking forward to it, and it's obviously one of yours, it's an unreleased one. It builds hype. It's great for community interaction. It's a brilliant way to kind of generate buzz around a track by getting it out and heard by the public in anticipation of the release of it, maybe in a few weeks' time, or like later the summer, or you drop it before Ibiza and it actually comes out for release to the public after Ibiza, for example. Labelworks is a great way to send your music to other people, but then also to receive music from other people. So, you know, I can see here, like, these are the albums and EPs that have been sent to me most recently by, you know, fellow DJs and record labels. I get to play them, I get to give feedback of them. Like, I really liked the Headshot, this one there, for example. I give them feedback, and yeah, just get your music out kind of privately to DJs before it goes out to the public themselves. So there we go. So I think we've covered everything, right? From releasing your music to then promoting it via sound campaign, getting it onto Beatport on the stores, kind of bypassing a website and going with a link tree instead, being able to track your stats in a good, medium and bad way, which is why then I encourage everyone to have their own way of doing this via, you know, a fancy script and a Google sheet. Ways to upload your music to BBC Introducing to get people to hear your own music. Just encouragement to not let your SoundCloud die and get on there and start promoting your music there. Joining the Pete Tong DJ Academy to build community and learn in a brand new way. And then how to get your music to other people and receive music before it is released. That's about it. There are other things that I use, which were listed actually along the top. For example, there's Bandcamp for artists. There's recording studios that allow you to meet up with other people and collab with other students or attendees. There's various help for writing riders, for hospitality riders and technical riders as well. There's ways of selling your music as on Web3 as a NFT, as well as like a bunch of other things which I can probably go into in a later stream, but you know, they are not as big as the ones I've just shown just now. So yeah, remember the tips that I said. Hopefully you wrote them down as we went along, because I can't remember them now. And hopefully, yeah, that shows kind of like the business side of the music industry as I found it. I'm still learning. I'm still picking up tips and tricks and new sites and new ways of working as I go along. But what I've shown you has managed to get me from absolutely nothing to 2 albums, decent social media following, decent sales and streaming numbers for who I am, which is, as I said, nobody. And get the ball rolling on your music career, without anybody else's help. You know, you can just kind of do it all yourself and be a master within your own sphere. So yeah, hopefully that has been of interest. Next stream, I'm not sure what we're gonna go over, but I feel like we should now go into actually making some music. And therefore we'll probably head back into Ableton and we will go over the creation of a track. Also, we will do a future stream on the video game that I am making as well. I say video game, mobile game, which is going to be called Battledex, and it is a kind of Top Trump style game where you are building the best back-to-back team and battling an opposing back-to-back team for control of the crowd. So it's a bit like FIFA Ultimate Team, a bit like Top Trumps, a bit like Marvel Snap. We'll go over that in a future stream, but that's what else I'm working on. Other than that, like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that kind of like nonsense. But thanks for joining once again, and I will see you next time.